What's up, YouTube? So today I have kind of a different video for you. So a few weeks ago I ordered a replacement bulb for my Epson 5040 UV projector that I have mounted on my ceiling. Well, I just received it in the mail and I'm going to be replacing it, but I have to take the projector down from my mount on the ceiling, and I'm going to take it down, I'm going to open it up, I'm going to replace the bulb. I'm going to show you how to do that. Some of you may have the same projector that I do, the Epson 5040 UV. So if you've never changed a bulb before or is getting time to change your bulb like me, I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm really excited as well because not only to change the bulb, but once I take the projector down, I'm going to start working on mounting my hush box that I've been building. And I'm excited to show you guys what I've done with it. Now, disclaimer, I'm not a professional. I'm not a carpenter or anything at all by any means. So if some of you out there watching this have carpentry skills and you're really good, don't expect to see anything extravagant with this hush box. This is just a makeshift hush box that I decided to do by myself. One, to save money, and two, to kind of get a learning experience. I didn't want to have to try and find, a contractor or somebody to come out here and do that and have to pay them. And really, I was able to do it by myself and save a lot of money because when I built my riser, I had a lot of wood left over. And I just repurposed the wood that I had left over to make the hush box. I had to go out and buy a couple of things that I didn't already have, but I saved a lot of money, not only having to pay someone else, but having to go out and buy more materials. If you're doing any type of woodwork around the house and maybe you have some leftovers, you might be able to do the same thing yourself. So I'm excited to show you guys and give you an idea of kind of how I built mine and some of the things that I did with it. So I have some insulation that I'm going to put in. Insulation. It's basically just some really cheap acoustic panels that I'm going to put in there to kind of help with the acoustics, hopefully, sound dampening. And then I also bought an AC infinity fan and a controller to mount on the actual hush box to help with the airflow. All right, so I just got the bulb in the mail, just went over to the mailbox and got it out. So I'm going to open it up and show you what the replacement bulb looks like. Alright, so there's the bulb. Now, when you buy these, I think you have an option of just buying the bulb, or you can buy it with this, I don't know what it's called, I guess it's the housing unit. But I decided to go with the housing unit, so I'm going to have to replace this whole thing. I don't even know if you can just change the bulb, but when I bought the bulb, there was an option to either just buy the bare bulb, or I forget what this is called. But this is it, and I'll post the link in the description of the website that I used to buy my replacement bulb for the Epson 5040 projector. So I'm also kind of excited because, or not so much, I am excited, but I'm also a little bit sad because once I unmount my projector, I'm not going to be able to use my home theater. And I don't know how long it's going to take because I've never really done anything like this. I don't know how long it's going to take for me to install my hush box. I am off all week, so hopefully I'll have plenty of time to, install it. If anything happens or if I encounter any problems, I should have enough time to, remedy those problems. But I am excited because this is something that I've been wanting to do for a while. And, when I built my riser is 10 inches high. So before, I was 10 inches lower from the projector. And anybody that has a projector knows that if you mount your projector close to your seating position, you're going to hear that fan once it gets loud, once you set it to, the high light output setting. So now that I'm almost a foot closer, and with my theater chairs, I'm a lot closer to the actual projector, my head and my ears So it's just always bothered me, the fan noise. And the reason why I wanted to build a hush box is to, one, kind of have a little bit more stable mounting system. You know, with a projector mount, you can't touch it. I don't care how tight you get it. If you touch it, I guess if you have a super expensive mount, it's probably not an issue. But if you touch it, you've got to do all your calculations again and get it right to fit to the screen. I haven't had to do that too much, and nobody ever bumps it. But if I ever did want to do something to it, or if I need to unplug a cable, I really can't, because I don't really feel like having to fix everything again. So having it in a hush box is going to be fixed position, and it's not going to move around, and it's going to be flat. And so instead of having it inverted, I'm going to flip it back over to where it's going to be, you know, sitting on the feet. And it's just a better option as opposed to mounting it. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm excited to get this project started and to show you guys. So I'm going to take it down and I'm going to show you how to replace the bulb. All right, guys, so I just had a whirlwind of a time replacing this bulb, and it's not anything on Epson's part. So I didn't realize that when I got the bulb, so it comes in this housing unit, right? Well, when I got the replacement bulb, I had to cut the video because I couldn't get it to fit in here. And it took me about 15 to 20 minutes to realize that the new bulb with the housing unit did not fit. So I was freaking out because I was like, great, they sent me the wrong bulb. So then I went online and went to the website. Well, what I had to do is I had to take this whole thing apart, both of them, and I had to take the new bulb out of the housing unit and put the new bulb back into the old housing unit. So thankfully I was able to do that. They have a video online that shows you how to do it. I'm hoping that it works. I think I did it correctly. I took a picture of everything beforehand before I dismantled my old bulb. So thank goodness. This is the old bulb, and I've got the new one in there. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to show you that part because it would have taken too long. This video would have been way too long. But I do want to show you how to insert it. So I already unscrewed this, but you just unscrew this cover and it slides out. So you take that out, and then there's two screws here that you will have to unscrew when you take it out. So you'll unscrew these, and then once you unscrew it, you just pop it out. And depending on which bulb you buy, your housing unit might fit. You might be able to just drop it in there, but that didn't work for me. I had to completely take this whole thing apart. It wasn't too hard. It was just a lot of not a lot of screws. It was just complicated, but it wasn't as hard as you think it would be. Once I started doing it, I was like, oh, okay, I see what I have to do. And then there's some little another little housing unit inside that houses the bulb. These little metal pieces that you have to like pry open. So it was just a little bit tedious, but I got it done. So now I've got the new bulb. I'm going to, so I have this thing here. It's a air puffer thingy. I don't know what the official name of these are called, but basically just to clean this out. It's not dirty. Just so, you know, I don't want to use a compressed air and force, you know, really strong air in here. I don't know, it might mess it up. So now I'm going to put this back in, and I'm going to screw these screws back in. And make sure you push it down, because if you don't push it down, then the screws aren't going to catch the thread and it won't screw in. So let's push down, screwed in. Sorry about the angle. I know you probably can't see it too good. I had to adjust my phone a little bit. That's the disadvantage of recording with your phone. So I'm working on trying to get an actual camera. But now just put this back in and screw that in. And then I'm going to plug this in, and should work. All right, guys, well, good news. I just plugged in the projector, turned it on, and everything's working. So I'm really happy. I went into the settings, reset the lamp hours to 0, so we're good to go. So that's going to conclude part 2 of the Hushbox installation. Now, I know that this particular part doesn't really have anything to do with the actual Hushbox, but I wanted to include it in the Hushbox video because it's all part of the process. Now, one thing I will say is don't do what I did. If you're going to be unmounting your projector from the ceiling, I highly recommend that you ask someone to help you. Now, I was fairly confident that I could do it myself. One, because I have the seats right underneath the projector, and it just worked out that way. And I knew that I could hold it enough to where, you know, I could defy gravity a little bit, obviously because it's hanging and, you know, it did drop, but it's not too heavy. So I knew that going in, and I had the seats under me or underneath the projector, and the projector doesn't have any type of sharp edges that would go through the plastic on my seats. So don't do that. It's probably not a good idea that I did it by myself, but I didn't have anybody to call, and I didn't really feel like calling anybody just to do that. As you can see, it didn't take very long. But if you're going to be doing this yourself, I highly recommend that you get somebody to help you. All right, guys, so this is going to conclude part 2 of the Hushbox and how to change your projector bulb.